Let me start with this. There is a very specific moment in a woman's life when she realizes she somehow became the COO of 5 different departments that she never signed paperwork for. It usually hits you on a very unremarkable morning. You wake up, look around, and start mentally organizing your day before your feet even touch the floor. Like your brain clocked in without asking you first. You're calculating everything: what needs to get done, what you forgot to get done, what you need to buy, what needs attention, what cannot fall apart today, what must you remember, what must you check on, and how you're going to do all of that while still showing up as a functioning adult with clean clothes and a semi positive attitude. And all this happens before you've even had water. And somehow, even with that supercomputer of mind, you still have the audacity, the absolute nerve to tell yourself, you need to get it together. Ma'am, you already held a strategy meeting in your head before 6:30 a.m. You are together. You're running a whole ecosystem on 1% battery and still delivering results. Today's episode is about that: the invisible expectations, the constant juggling, the myth of balance, and the soothing truth beneath it all. Because the reality is this: women are not burned out because they're weak. Women are burned out because they're operating at a level that research says the human brain was never meant to sustain. And somehow we're doing it daily like it's a personality trait. So today we're diving into the science, the societal conditioning, the emotional load, the quiet shift that happens when a woman decides to release the performance of balance and choose alignment instead. But first, welcome back. Welcome back to the GB, a space where we grow, we heal, we tell the truth, and we give ourselves permission to not be perfect. We're still becoming incredible. I'm your host, Jerry, and this is season 1, The Shift, a 10-episode bilingual series with new episodes every Thursday in English and Spanish on Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube. Today's episode is The Imperfect Balance, a conversation every woman deserves, backed by real data, wrapped in real humor, and delivered with real compassion. Let's begin. There's a sociological concept called role overload. It's not new. It was introduced by William Good in 1960, but it has never been more relevant than it is today. Role overload means the number of roles you're responsible for exceeds the emotional, mental, or physical capacity required to fulfill them. And here's the plot twist. According to researchers at the University of Toronto, modern women carry 7 to 12 active roles per day. 7 to 12. Meanwhile, the human brain can effectively manage about 3 to 4 before stress and cortisol spike. So basically, women are multitasking with the CPU limits of a 1998 desktop computer. And then we wonder why we feel tired. It's not you, it's the math. You're assigning yourself 12 full time identities, and your brain is sending you an email saying, per my last message, This is too much. Next is the mental and emotional load, the work nobody sees, but everyone benefits from. This concept was first articulated in depth by sociologist Arlie Hochschild in her groundbreaking book, The Second Shift. Her findings: women working full time jobs still perform an additional 15 hours per week of unpaid cognitive and emotional labor at home. 15 hours a week. A whole part time job that does not show up on a check stub, a resume, or an award ceremony. Then in 2020, the UCL Center for Time Use Research confirmed similar findings. Women average 4.5 hours a day of invisible unpaid work. But here's the part that hits deeper. The emotional load doesn't clock out. It doesn't nap. It doesn't rest. Women are thinking, anticipating, planning, remembering, and problem preventing in the background of everything else. It's mental tab overload. It's carrying open loops that never fully close. It's being the default person for remembering what no one else remembers, but everyone else relies on. A French study titled You Should Have Asked demonstrated this so clearly that the OECD referenced it when documenting cognitive labor inequality. Women aren't just doing tasks, they're silently responsible for managing the entire ecosystem so tasks don't fall apart. This is the work that makes life livable, but leaves women exhausted. Not because they failed, but because nobody can hold that much on their mind every single day without consequences. Let's talk about burnout. The Deloitte Women at Work Global Survey from 2023 surveyed over 5,000 women worldwide and found 77% of women experience burnout. 46 feel overwhelmed most of the time. 66 feel responsible for tasks no one else notices, but everyone expects. This isn't a small trend. This is global. Women are not tired from weakness. Women are tired from operating at capacity for years on end. And because women keep functioning, the world keeps assuming it's fine. But the body keeps score. The nervous system keeps score. The hormones keep score. The brain keeps score. Here's something nobody told us growing up. The part of your brain responsible for emotional regulation, decision making, planning, and long term clarity doesn't fully develop until age 30 to 35. This comes from Harvard Medical School and decades of neuroscience research published in Natural Reviews Neuroscience, meaning all the pressure you put on your 22-year-old self to have life figured out, your brain didn't even have the neural wiring for that yet. You weren't behind. You were still downloading the mental software. And yet we shame ourselves for what we didn't know with a brain that wasn't fully built. Women are expected to multitask like it's a superpower. But Harvard, Stanford, and the APA say the opposite. In 2009, Stanford University released a study regarding chronic multitasking. It reduces productivity by 40%, decreases memory, lowers cognitive control, increases stress hormones. Your brain is not meant to run 8 tabs at once while emotionally supporting everyone around you and trying to enjoy a lukewarm coffee. And yet we keep doing it. It's like part of our genetic code. It's not, it's conditioning. One more piece of science. According to a study in PNAS published in 2011 and commentary by the British Medical Journal, humans make about 35,000 decisions per day. By evening, decision-making ability drops significantly. This is not personality, this is neuroscience. This is why by 7 p.m., you can negotiate a strategic multi-million-dollar deal, but cannot decide what you want for dinner. Your brain has left the chat. Here's where we pivot. Balance is the line. Alignment is the strategy. Balance implies everything gets equal priority and equal weight and equal attention. But nothing in nature functions like that. The ocean doesn't balance waves. It aligns with the moon. Trees don't balance growth. They align with the season. Women are the only beings on earth expected to balance everything all the time without rest. But the research shows women don't need more balance. Women need permission to redistribute their energy to what actually matters in this season of their life. And that is alignment. When women stop trying to be perfect and start prioritizing what feels right, their nervous system shifts. The Texas Behavioral Health Review, published in 2002, reported that women who switch from quote unquote balancing everything to quote unquote prioritizing intentionally experience 30 to 50% reduction in anxiety, improved sleep, improved emotional stability, increased cognitive clarity, not from supplements, not from routines, from expectation shifts. Sometimes the cure is simply removing the demand to be everything, everywhere, all at once. Now let's talk about you. You listening, you trying, you pushing, you carrying more than the world will ever know. If you've ever said, I'm exhausted, I feel behind, I can't keep up, I'm juggling too much, I'm losing myself. Let me translate that into science. You're not broken, your brain is overloaded, your nervous system is tired, your roles outweigh your resources, your expectation outweigh your capacity, your emotional labor outweighs your rest. This is not failure. This is physics. A system can only support so much weight before it needs redistribution. And this is where the shift happens. Because the truth is, you don't need to do everything. You don't need to be everything. You don't need to perform balance. You need alignment. And alignment begins with honesty, not the identity you perform, not the identity you inherited, not the identity everyone applauds, the identity that actually fits your season. This is where transformation begins. Not when everything is perfect, but when the illusion of perfection dissolves. You begin to ask, what truly matters today? What can wait? What do I actually have capacity for? What is draining me? What is nourishing me? Where am I performing? Where am I pretending? Where am I pressuring myself into standards nobody else is meeting? And slowly, the weight shifts. Not because your responsibilities disappear, but because your relationship to them changes. You stop pretending to have 12 arms. You stop expecting yourself to run 3 lifetimes at once. You stop forcing yourself into deadlines that were never realistic. You begin to breathe again. You begin to choose again. You begin to show up for yourself with compassion instead of criticism. And that is imperfect balance. It's not equality. It's not symmetry. It's not aesthetic. It's alignment. It's choosing what matters and releasing the rest. It's doing enough instead of doing everything. It's remembering that you are human, not a machine. And the most beautiful part, as you slow down and become more efficient, as you prioritize, you gain clarity. As you release perfection, you gain peace. Your life stops feeling like a test and starts feeling like a journey again. Your identity becomes yours again. You begin to return to yourself. Not the idolized version, not the high functioning version, the real, grounded, aligned version who still has dreams but no longer needs to sprint to prove she deserves them. That is the shift. Thank you for listening to the GB, the place where becoming is allowed to be imperfect and balance is allowed to look human. This is season 1, The Shift. 10 episodes in English and Spanish, with new episodes every Thursday on Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube. If today's episode made you feel seen, share it with a woman who's carrying too much and blaming herself for it. You don't owe the world perfection, you owe yourself peace. And remember, impossible is just an opinion. I'll see you next Thursday.